What is going on, everybody? I am back today to talk about a movie that I realistically probably should have seen by now, but for some reason over the years, it just completely escaped me. I haven't sat down and watched it. I didn't see it when it was in the theater. And I've heard this movie praised over and over and over again. And this weekend, the new film Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, comes out, and I am a huge fan of Anya Taylor-Joy. The movie from the trailers looks absolutely incredible, and because of that, I wanted to watch this movie first prior to seeing it. And so I'm really excited to discuss Mad Max Fury Road with you today. Mad Max Fury Road is directed by George Miller, an apocalyptic story set in the furthest reaches of our planet in a stark desert landscape where humanity is broken and most everyone is crazed fighting for the necessities of life. Within this world exists two rebels on the run who might just be able to restore order. So I was very excited to watch this movie, especially with everything that I've heard about it over the years, and it's as good as everyone says it is. It really is a remarkable piece of filmmaking that throughout the entirety of the runtime, as someone who went to school for film production and appreciates like cinematography and production design and the level of effort that goes into filmmaking, my mind couldn't even process some of the sequences that were happening with the number of extras, how things were pulled off that didn't look like they forced CGI into a scene. It's just really incredible that George Miller was even able to make this movie, and I'm really excited to talk to you about it today. So the plot of this film is very simplistic. Early in the movie, we're introduced to Max, played by Tom Hardy, who seemingly is just living on the outskirts of nowhere by himself. His hair's all disheveled, he's living alone, and he's clearly experiencing some sort of trauma about these kids that he was not able to save at some period in his life. And early on in the film, he is captured by the henchmen of this man, Immortan Joe, who is the villain of the film, who seems to be this horrible dictator who runs everything in this desert landscape. He gives water to the people, but he heavily restricts it. He has all these women that he calls his wives that he just seemingly is trying to get pregnant so that he can produce offspring. They are essentially held as slaves. And shortly after, we are introduced to Furiosa, played by Charlize Theron, who is tasked by Immortan Joe early on in the film to go acquire fuel and bullets from these people that are considered allies of Immortan Joe. And so she takes this crew with her to go acquire this ammunition and fuel, but we shortly find out that's not her intention. She has taken the women that Immortan Joe calls his wives and is trying to take them back to her homeland and the place that she was raised to escape the horrible rule of this leader. And Max somehow escapes his confines and meets up with Furiosa, and the entirety of the film is these two trying to outrun Immortan Joe and trying to fight back against him for survival. So as I said, pretty simplistic premise, but this movie is just so fantastic. For starters, the performances in this are exceptional. There is not a ton of dialogue in the movie, and the dialogue that is delivered is fantastic. I really love all of the performances in this. I feel like Charlize Theron is really one of the standouts, and all of the actresses that show up that play the wives of Immortan Joe are phenomenal. They all do a really fantastic job. There's a lot of great one-liners in this movie that I see a ton of people quoting, and what speaks volumes to the movie and the longevity of the film and how many people have loved it more and more over the years is just that even though the dialogue in the film is limited, you can tell that there's a lot of attention to detail in the dialogue of the movie, and that's something that I can really appreciate a lot. But there's also so much in just like close-up sequences where we see reactions of characters' faces that I think really add to the emotionality of the film and cause it to have a very heavy emotional punch. The cinematography and the editing of this movie is absolutely incredible. I've seen like when people have complaints about this movie, some people critique the chaotic nature of the editing, but I think it accompanies the pace and the tone of the film absolutely perfectly. The color in this movie is just remarkable. I complain so often about films being desaturated. This movie is saturated perfectly. Like the colors all have these really unique tones, and this setting of this movie has so much life that it's really easy within the first couple of minutes to just be completely and totally immersed in the world and the story. the production design in this film when it comes to like characters and their costumes and how everyone has just a very unique look to them. It's just really awesome how much attention to detail there is in each and every sequence of this movie, down to the extras in the movie. The people just in the background, you can tell that there was a lot of time and effort and energy put into how they look. There are brief moments of exposition in this movie that give you an idea as to what the world is like and to kind of build it up for you as an audience member, but there's so much you can learn just through how characters interact about the power dynamics in this world and how certain people are treated, especially early on in the first 15 or 20 minutes of the movie. I really think the way George Miller approaches the film, he's such a visual storyteller. Like the dialogue accompanies the movie, but the visuals are everything. And that's really impressive to me, especially in a movie dropping you into this like science fiction landscape where you're having to learn a lot about the world. The fact that you can learn so much through solely the visuals is really fantastic. The action sequences in this movie are unlike anything I've ever seen before. The way people are like jumping from car to car, and like the weapons that are used and the uniqueness of the vehicles, because this is a post-apocalyptic world of a world that already existed. And so to see like them take cars and like add spikes to them or build on them, it's just really a very unique idea, and it's really impressive, the execution as well. And what I like about this movie, you can enjoy it as a straightforward action adventure piece, but it's also saying a lot, especially about the mistreatment of women and the expectation of women, where the main focal point of the movie is Charlize Theron's character Furiosa trying to get these women to safety, and how she is not okay with the way that women are being treated and how they're viewed as just like objects to give birth to children. And the way George Miller handles it in the movie is really incredible. And there's a lot of truly powerful emotional sequences in this, and also some disturbing imagery in this movie as well, that I think pack a very visceral punch that you can pull a lot away from this movie, aside from it just being a fun and entertaining action movie. And I can't say that about all action movies that have existed previously. It's really cool to have a film that can speak volumes to something else on top of just being a really entertaining movie. And yeah, I know that there's been a ton said about this film over the years, but it really does live up to the hype. It was absolutely exceptional. I have virtually no qualms with this movie, and I cannot wait to watch it again. And I'm very excited to watch Furiosa this weekend. So have you seen Mad Max Fury Road? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was absolutely incredible. I was completely and totally blown away by everything, the performances, the cinematography, the execution of the material. It's a must-watch movie. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.